Hey everyone, Darcinovi here. This is my Tales of collection. Just to let you know, for those of you who are going to watch my haul and this video, I'm not going to show this in my haul, but this is a pretty good game. I'm loving it so far. I'll give my further thoughts when I'm done with the game. This is Tales of Vesperia to start off this haul. This series has been going on for over 20 years, and there's been some good games, some bad games, and etc. But I figured it's time to showcase my collection as of right now. Now, you're talking to someone who's hardcore. I own multiple versions of some Tales games, English and Japanese. So, to start off this, I'm going to showcase a Tales game that probably every Tales fan owns, unless they're one of those idiots that sold their GameCubes, Tales of Symphonia. This, for me and many people, this was my gateway to the Tales series. Sadly, most Nintendo fans never played the other ones except this one. It's a good game, but to be honest, it's vastly overrated. And unfortunately, a lot of Tales games get overlooked in favor of Tales of Symphonia. And people like myself, this is the definitive version of the game. I consider it the best version. I think the PS2 version and PS3 version are vastly inferior, and the additional content that you get in that port is superficial, and the difficulty is bullshit, in my opinion. Anyway, not to mention it downgrades a game that was 60 FPS to 30. So yes, this is Tales of Eternia. This is the PS1 version in English, though. No, Eternia is not the wrong name. Tales of Destiny 2 is the wrong name. It's just, due to copyright reasons, they couldn't call it by its original name, so they called it Tales of Destiny 2. Oh, thank God this was the only Tales game named that had a number, because who knows if every Tales game in the West was called Tales of Destiny this. Ugh, just the thought of it makes me cringe. It has nothing to do with the original Tales of Destiny. And I don't have that, actually, because I'm not going to spend like over $100 for a game that isn't really that good to begin with. And not to mention, I have a vastly superior game, which I'll show you later. Good game. If you're willing to fork out the money for it, get it. If you want to save money and you know Japanese relatively well, import the Japanese version. It's cheaper. This is games on the PSP. The first I'm showing you is the first game of the franchise, and also a spin-off and sequel of that game. Tales of Fantasia X, which this basically comes with Tales of Fantasia and Tales of Fantasia X. Pretty good. You get a lot of gameplay, and you're getting a good value out of this. 2 games for the price of 1. If you understand Japanese, this should be a cakewalk, for people. So yeah, good game. Definitely worth the money. Get another version of Tales of Eternia on the PSP. This is in Japanese. Unfortunately, the English version on the PSP is insanely hard to find, and it's ridiculous. The price is insane, and you're better off getting this if you want to play the game. Some people can just emulate them, but I don't like emulating games, honestly, if I can help it. This is Renate Mythology 3. You're going to see a trend. Most of my Tales collection are Japanese-only games that were never released in Japan. I mean, outside Japan, you know what I mean. And one of my least favorite Tales games to date, Renate Mythology, which was released in the West. Not very good, and the only one in the series that we got. Now, the Tales games on the Wii. Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of a New World. Many Tales fans, like myself, have mixed feelings about it. I don't think it's that good. I think it's bad. One of the worst Tales games, and it was released the year Vesperia was released. I'm going by the Japanese release dates. And a Tales game that we'd have to wait almost freaking 5 years for. Tales of Graces. Yes, for those of you who've played this game on the PS3, this was a Wii game first. I own every version of the game. Is the Wii version worth tracking down? No. You're better off just playing the PS3 version. There's more content. The game is far better. There's a lot of problems with the Wii version. It's not worth it unless you're a hardcore collector. Now the Vita games. Tales of Innocence R. This is I think this one's underrated. A really good game, far better than the DS version. I wouldn't recommend the DS version, in my opinion, even if it is officially translated in English, through ROMs. You're better off playing the Vita version. And a Tales game that got a lot of hate because there was no English dub, which I felt was undeserved, was Tales of Hearts R, one of my favorite games in the series. And I'm really glad I got a Vita because I did not miss out on one of my favorite RPGs. I think it's a great game, severely underrated. Hey, Namco Bandai, got an idea. Instead of remastering a Tales game that everyone's already played multiple times, remaster these. Release them on the PS4. I guarantee you they'd make money. That's an idea, Namco Bandai. Instead of re-releasing Tales of Symphonia a billion times. Of course, for the Nintendo ones, more back to Nintendo, the DS, this is the original version of Tales of Hearts, the DS one. It's good, but I think the Vita version is better, honestly. And the 3DS version of Tales of the Abyss, which I think I can't really comment on it. I haven't played it that much. What I played of it so far, I don't think is as good as the PS2 version. Now to the PS2 games. Tales of the Abyss. I got this when it was insanely expensive. Though I got a discount for it. It was $25. Really good. This is one of my favorite games in the series. I really love this game. And I played through it probably more than most of the other ones. Tales of Legendia, unfortunately, is the black sheep of the series. Gets a lot of hate due to Symphonia tards. Even though the battle system's a huge step down from Tales of Symphonia, the characters in the story are far better and more memorable. And it has some of the best music in the series to date. I highly recommend this game. Another Tales game I need to get the Japanese version of just to complete that collection. And again, the PS2 version of Tales of Symphonia, a non-player's choice. I don't know what they call it in Japan, but I got the first edition. This one is not that hard to find, and honestly, I actually think this is better than the PS3 version. I don't know what's up with Tales of Symphonia. Constantly, every release, this game gets released, it gets downgraded. The game looks worse and worse each release. It looks ugly, Tales of Symphonia. The only version I think that looks good is the GameCube version. I'm not saying that as a nostalgic fanboy. I'm just saying that because it just has aged very badly, the PS2 version. It's just ugly to look at. My favorite Tales game in the entire franchise, Tales of Destiny Remake. And if you have no desire to spend an insane amount of money for the PS1 version, get this version. Tales of Destiny Director's Cut is amazing. Basically, this is basically, imagine Tales of Graces, but better. At least this is what it is to me. It is a great game. I love this game. It's a damn shame that Namco Bandai didn't localize it. And the actual Tales of Destiny 2, this one is also a great game too. Not as good as some of the other ones, but I still think it's great. The music is amazing. The battle system is addictive. I love this game. I really do, even if it does have some flaws. The Japanese version of Tales of the Abyss. Yeah. This is how hardcore I am, guys. I buy as many versions of a lot of these Tales games as possible because I adore the Japanese voices for majority of these games, and I love listening to them when I'm playing through the game. Yes. If you ever remaster this Namco Bandai, please include dual audio for Tales of the Abyss. Please. And another one of my favorite games, a travesty, it never left Japan, Tales of Rebirth, is severely underrated. Unfortunately, Tales of Symphonia overshadowed this game. Everything about this game is better than Symphonia. The story, the characters, the music, the villains, everything about it is great. I love this game. One of my favorite games in the entire franchise. A lot of these I played with translation guides. This is how hardcore I am. I'm willing to read translation guides just to play these games. I don't let something like a language barrier stop me. Now, for the PS3 games, I'm going to do the English versions first because there isn't that. I am one game short, or at least 2 games short. Tales of Graces. Even though the dub I think is bad in my opinion for this version, I still think it's a worthy game in your collection. And it's not that hard to find. You better grab a copy while it's still easy to find. Tales of Xillia, even though my feelings about the first one are kind of mixed, it's still an enjoyable experience. Though, in my opinion, it's vastly inferior to Xillia 2. So you can't look at this game. If you're going to play this and Xillia 2, you better play it for the story. So yeah, it's a good game, but not as good as some of the others. Tales of Xillia 2, one of my favorite Tales games. I consider this the Majora's Mask of the Tales series. A lot of the content you see is recycled. It was made with a lower budget than some of the other games, and it was rushed. But for a game that had very little development time, this is pretty damn good. It's not that expensive to get either of these games. Symphonia Chronicles. Unfortunately, if you don't have the ability to get the GameCube version, this is probably the best you're going to get. And don't get that fucking piece of shit on the PC. Honestly. Don't. Just don't. Even if Symphonia is downgraded from a gameplay standpoint, it is a good alternative, though. You better make sure to actually grind a lot in Symphonia because it's a lot harder than the GameCube version. And you can play a less shittier version of Dama New World. Now, the Japanese Tales games. All these are the same except 2. The Japanese version of Graces. One of my favorite Tales games, and I'm never going to get a fucking 360 for it because I think why would I want to play the inferior version? Not only do I get to have Finn as a playable character, I have Patty, and I have like 30 hours of additional content. This game is amazing. It packed an already content-packed game with even more content. This game is amazing. One of the best Tales games in the entire franchise. Definitely pick this up. If you have a 360, do yourself a favor and track this game down. It is one of the best RPGs of the 7th console generation. In my opinion, it's one of the worst generations of gaming. Especially if you're a fan of JRPGs. The Japanese version of Xillia 1. The Japanese version of Xillia 2. And, I don't have the PS4 version physical, but I have a digital copy. It's the only Tales game I bought digitally. This game. To be honest, I do not like this game. I consider it the worst game in the entire franchise. Fuck this game. Anyway, that's my entire Tales collection. If you'd like me to do a Let's Play of these games in the future, just comment below. This is Darsonovia, over and out. May we live long and prosper, and have a good day, everyone.